Welcome to Making It with Terry Wollman, the show that explores the secrets, successes, and strategies for making it in the music biz. And now, here's your host, Terry Wollman.
Hey everybody, welcome to Making It, presented to you by Fireside. I'm your host, Terry Wollman, and my guest today is Grammy Award-winning songwriter, producer, and drummer for the Black Eyed Peas, Keith Harris. I appreciate you joining us every week, and I'd like to share my intention that inspires this podcast. Time passes quickly, and I've learned that we should do what's in our hearts and do it well without apologies or excuses. I encourage you to create your life and art in your own unique way and express your artistry with joy and with abandon. Be willing to work uncompromisingly for what you believe in. Success will have a better chance of finding you when you live your life with integrity, focus, and passion. Be selfish with your discipline and selfless in your performance. And don't forget to have fun along the way. If you're joining us today in our live virtual audience, we'll be inviting questions and comments during the second half of the show. So simply request an invite to speak, and my moderator, Dr. Lisa, will bring you on stage to join the conversation. And Dr. Lisa, it's always a pleasure to do these shows with you as my co-pilot. Thanks for joining us today.
Always a pleasure to be here. I'm excited about today. Hi, Keith.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
So let me tell you a little bit about our guest. Record producer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist Keith Harris was born and raised in Chicago's South Side. After graduating Berklee College of Music with a degree in production and engineering, he went on to music direct for artists including Fergie, Meghan Trainor, Fifth Harmony, Will.i.am, Cheryl Cole, CeLo Green, and Backstreet Boys. Harris has collaborated with several high-profile recording and live acts in the music industry. His hit songs include Meet Me Halfway and Imma Be by Black Eyed Peas, It's My Birthday by Will.i.am, American Boy by Estelle, Feel Good by Robin Thicke, Can't Stop Wont Stop by Usher, Gang Bang by Madonna, and Be Okay and Let's Rock by Chrisette Michele. He has been the drummer for the Black Eyed Peas and Fergie since 2003. Keith Harris, welcome to Making It.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And this took a little time to coordinate because you're a busy guy. You've been...
Yeah, thank God. Pandemic is over, so not even say that. Rewind.
Yeah, rewind.
It's not over, but our world in the entertainment industry is kind of opening back up again. So.
Right. Yeah. And how are you feeling about that? Because I know that both of us have been in some situations that were less than comfortable.
Oh man, it's great to be back on stage and music and being especially a live and touring musician, man. It's all about camaraderie and relationships and feeling the energy from the people you're touring with and the crowd. So it's nice to see warm bodies again and not just over the telephones and screens.
Right. It's back to 3-dimensional, not 2D.
Yeah. In some cases.
Right. Right. We're still doing this like this. And but one of many upsides of this pandemic has been family time. I know that you're a husband and a father, and it must have been pretty wonderful to be able to spend more time with your family.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my biggest issues, especially last year, 2020.
Right.
Black Eyed Peas had a really big song, Ritmo, and we were really doing good on the charts in the Latin community and, South America and all of those places. So we were looking forward to really getting a chance to tour a lot of places we haven't been since maybe 2009, 2011. In that case, we're gone. If something's hitting like that, we're gone for 3-4 months. Easy.
Right, like it used to be.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
And, that was creating a little bit of an issue for me as a father because at that time, my son was 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm really close with my kids. I have 2 boys, 7 and 3 years old. And I was really nervous about being gone for that length of time and thinking like, will my son remember me? And all those little moments that you miss, being on the road working.
Right.
But like you said, though, the pandemic, was a blessing, for some. And in that sense of the pandemic, I had a chance to really spend a lot of time with my kids and my family. And, that was a really good thing, to really be there to nurture my family and my son, and to enjoy that time I would otherwise not have.
And to nurture yourself.
Yeah,
through that experience.
Even though I've nurtured myself so much that I gained some weight.
Right. We were talking about the COVID 10 pounds, and I think we're being kind. Right.
Yeah. I gotta get my 10 pounds off, guys.
Yep. Everybody.
That's funny. Well, you're good if you only did 10, because my girlfriend calls it the COVID-19.
Oh,
the COVID-19 20.
That's great.
That's great, Lisa. So I want to kick off. We're going to talk about family and growing up here in the Inglewood, but starting out in Chicago. But I want to start with a quote of yours, which is the music industry will try you, will beat you down. You can't get anywhere without following the 3 Ps. You want to tell them what those 3 Ps are?
Oh man, prayer, practice, and patience.
Yes.
That's how I got from literally the south side of Chicago to, Hollywood and being able to survive out here. You definitely got to practice and be proficient at your instrument or whatever your craft is. You definitely got to be patient, because Hollywood will definitely test you, especially when you're in a school of fish and everybody's doing their own thing. And of course, with social media, everybody appears to be successful. So you really have to not put your success depending on other people's outlook. You have to really just stay true to yourself and your path. And then of course, prayer, whoever you pray to, just having that, center of gravity that kind of just keeps you focused and to manifest things. I think prayer is a 2-part process, to where you have to do some action and you have to speak the actions as well. Mm-hmm. Those things can't come to pass unless you speak those things. So a lot of that has really helped me in my journey to, south side of Chicago to where I'm at today.
This might be the first show that I actually go back and listen to, because the prayer, practice, and patience.
Yes.
You had me at prayer, but you got me 100% now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree. I also, and again, you're talking about, Hollywood, but I would imagine you had the same experience as far as understanding the importance of prayer, practice, and patience, even before you moved out here, living in Boston, traveling to New York back and forth. My perception, because I grew up in Miami, I went to Boston, Berklee as well, and then came out here. So I experienced that as well there. It's equally, you just gotta stay your course.
Yeah.
And have a strong practice.
Yeah, I mean,
of all of the things that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the discipline of everything that you're doing, especially, when you're trying to make it, so to say, that's about 95% of the journey, is being disciplined enough to stay the course.
Right.
So when your opportunity does come and it presents itself, that you're ready for it. A lot of people want the big time. They want to be on the big stage and do those things, but have you prepared for this? And, I've said in several interviews before, and even in the past, is that you have to embrace where you are, because it's something on that level you need to learn before you move to the next.
Right.
So, in my older age and a little bit of gray, I've learned to appreciate where I'm at, to actually look around and enjoy it, because there's always someone that isn't where you are. Mm-hmm. And there's always someone that you can inspire by your journey. So it's not as bad as you think it is. And every even downturn has a lesson that can be learned that can change your whole situation. So definitely that practice and prayer and patience make a big difference in success.
Would you say that another invaluable quality, I think I want to offer up a 4th P, persistence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you consider that to also be an invaluable quality?
Yes, I would say so, because like I said, especially nowadays, like when I was getting at it, man, it wasn't like a whole bunch of social media, right? Cell phones that just kind of came out in the 90s, late 90s. So you didn't really have that outside, like, man, let me check and see what this other guy is doing based only based on your network of people that you actually knew and could communicate with, you know? So like now you definitely have to have even more persistence because you're bombarded with so many people's optical illusions of success. You just really have to focus on what is success to you.
Right.
You know, everybody's vision of success isn't the same, you know? Everybody's journey isn't the same. I know a lot of people want the spoils of hard work, but the journey to get the spoils varies for everyone. So people just really have to, you know, stay the course, so to say.
Right. One of the things that I read that you tell people when you're mentoring is that you recommend that artists find something unique to make themselves stand out, which I think is a great tip. I'm wondering, what is that quality in you that you think makes you stand out?
I think for me, I don't ever say no. I don't ever say nothing can't be done.
Right.
I always say, okay, how can we do it? Or what's a more economical way to do it? You know, everything could be done if everyone put their mind to it and practice the best way to accomplish a goal. And I think for me, just being a little ninja, so to say, as far as being able to do several different things very well. You need a bass? I can do that.
Right.
You need a string arrangement? I can do that. You need to interpret music? I can do that. You know, just being, like I said, being prepared for any and all situations that come my way. And I think the last thing, you have to, in order to be a good leader, you have to know how to follow as well.
Yeah, you just nailed it, Keith. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I always advocate for the little guy. I always, you know, consider myself a servant in all of my MD gigs, and even working drums or anything like that. Even if I'm the leader, I'm still a servant because I have to take what the artist wants and interpret that, you know? So I never impose my will on any job that I do. I have the best people around me to make my job easier because I trust their advice in the department and what they do.
Right.
So yeah, I just think, you know, just being able to be a great server. I'm the guy with the basketball. I'm a great dish. I'm an assist man. I'll give you some great lobs. I'll get you a nice dunk.
Right.
I don't mind it, man, because as long as the team win, we all win.
Yes, that's so true. And I imagine that everything that you just said is not something that you learned in school, that you just inherently knew. Your intuition, your upbringing, and your life experience has shown you that. Am I wrong?
Well, I would say the technical parts of it, and what I mean by that, the book knowledge part of
Right.
a lot of the stuff that I've used to this day, I've learned in school at Berklee.
Absolutely. Likewise, string arranging and music directing. Absolutely.
The application of it and how to use it is life.
Right.
Life experience, the way I grew up in Chicago, me being a Virgo and being an observer.
Right.
I observe for things first before I make decisions. I'm like the guy, if everybody's going right, I'm gonna look why they're going right. And 9 times out of 10, I'm like, I'm gonna go this way. So just a call. And I think too, you know, if a lot of people don't do this, but just really being comfortable with who you are makes a big difference on your success, because you're not trying to be, a chameleon and jump into different things to see if you fit in here or you
Right.
do this to fit in there. It's like, man, people that I've known from elementary school, high school, college to this day say that Keith Harris has been the same the whole time. You know, nothing has changed. I've been me, and I've always been comfortable with being me.
Mm-hmm. That's quite a compliment, because it speaks to the essence of who you are as a man, as a person.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. And you just pretty much answered what my next question was going to be, which is, what do you think makes a strong music director, and can you describe the responsibilities of the job? You've already covered some of that.
Well, I call myself the surrogate father when I'm in MD mode.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have to tend to everything.
Right.
I have to make sure the whole family is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, starting from the drums, from the back of the stage, all the way out to front of house. Just making sure, everything sounds good on stage for the artist. making sure we have the right files, that we're playing the right songs, everything is time coded properly, making sure the monitors aren't feeding back, making sure microphones are properly set for each individual artist that I work with. If they're using auto tune, making sure all the correct keys for each song are set in place. Even if we have to jump a song or oh man, this is off the top, we got a freestyle off the top. Making sure that the crowd response is right. So while I'm playing drums, I'm analyzing the crowd, because if something doesn't sound right, I can tell in people's faces. Or just from playing songs years and years and years, you kind of know what the crowd response would be, and if we're not getting that, what's going on. So it's a lot of analyzing. It's like when I'm playing the actual drums, while I'm musical directing, I'm an autopilot on drums. I'm playing the songs, but I'm analyzing a lot of different things that's going on around me, and also just making sure the artist is cool. In this case, the Black Eyed Peas, because I play and I'm musical direct. So I'm looking back and forth at the guys and making sure they're cool with their ears and everything. And once I get that feeling is as all is well, and then I can really get into having fun. But for the first couple songs, I'm in Papa Bear mode.
Right. Absolutely. By the way, you made a basketball reference a little bit earlier in the conversation, and one thing that I think is really cool about you, and we talked about this off the air the other day, was that you had a 10-day contract with the NBA.
Oh,
you actually, basketball is a big part of your life, and a very powerful part of another path that you very easily could have gone down.
Yeah, back when my legs used to work, I was a pretty decent basketball player, and it was like in high school, it was like the two paths, right?
Right.
I could go and try to play ball, or I could do this music thing. So I chose the music thing. But while I chose the music thing on the road with the Black Eyed Peas, we were playing in Washington, I want to say. So this is Washington back like over 10 years ago. So we were at the Washington Wizards Stadium because we were doing the end tour. And, before we go on stage and do our thing, I would go shoot basketball in all the venues. So I'm like, man, I get to play ball on all these great courts. So I was in the practice gym of the Washington Wizards, and a good friend of mine, Jay Anderson, knew Kiki Vanderway. He was the coach. So him and Kiki started talking, and Jay tells me that, Kiki's watching you shoot, man. I was like, oh, word? I'm just in there shooting free throws, just messing around. He's like, man, they want to offer you a 10-day contract. I was like, huh? A 10-day contract for me? I was just like, oh, so do I quit this tour, this world tour, to give the shot to a 10-day contract in the NBA? And I respectfully declined, because I think the drumming thing worked out for me. But it was cool to know that, man, like if playing ball was really my dream come true, I could have snagged it right there. But I was just honored to be like, wow, I could have been on a basketball team.
Was there a moment where you actually had struggled with making that decision, like just for that brief moment?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would have got out there, they would have ran right past me. I was like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
They brought me in to shoot really good free throws, though. I would have been cool.
Yeah. Well, you chose well. Absolutely.
And
absolutely. I've read you say that you've come a really long way, but will never forget your childhood. So I want to talk about your early life for a minute, and before we get into music or back into music. And so, born and raised in Chicago South Side, and started playing with the New Friendship Baptist Church Gospel Choir. Began playing drums at the age of 10, but you didn't really formally study drums until you hit college?
No, not until high school.
High school, okay.
Mm-hmm. So high school is where I learned how to read, kind of learning what it is to play what I'm playing on paper. Right. More so than just learning it and playing by ear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But church, for so many, is such a great foundation for becoming a well-rounded real, musician who can really learn how to put your foot in it.
Yeah.
To really understand what it's like to be part of a rhythm section and to really support, to serve, of course, to serve the music, to serve the story.
Yeah. I think, what church does for a lot of, people, especially in the inner cities, it's almost like I said, like a basketball team.
Right.
Most church have like bass drums, rhythm section, horns, 2 keyboard players, guitars. It's like you'll have a touring band in your church every Sunday for most churches. And, for a lot of kids who didn't go to performing arts high school like I did, that's the performing arts high school, your church. You get a chance to really express yourself musically. And then with gospel music too, man, a lot of gospel music have very different styles of music within one song. So you can go from like a bossa nova to a straight rock song and then to a pop song. There's like so many genres of music in gospel that you have to learn as a musician. It really keeps you on your chops, and it really develops your ear and your continuity and endurance as well, because a lot of those songs are long. But yeah, man, that's what I learned playing in the church, playing. I actually started out in the choir, and then I kind of recused myself from the choir by watching the drummer.
Do you still sing though?
No, that wasn't my calling.
Okay.
No. If you give me some auto tune, I can sing some backgrounds.
All right.
Hey, you need a background vocalist, you can call me all day.
Okay, good to know. I might hit you up on that.
Yes, anytime.
Thank you. I think we would probably want to involve some drums and co-writing as well, because I'm a fan of your writing.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the diversity of your writing. You're not limited stylistically, genre-wise. You just know how to write a good song, and that's a skill and a gift.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's talk about Berklee for a moment, since we both went there.
Yep.
And my question that I've been asked when I'm on the receiving end of an interview, but I'll ask you because I'm always curious about this as well. What's the most valuable thing that you learned at Berklee while you were there, music or life-wise, and also is there anything that you felt didn't quite prepare you for the job? Because some things, especially music director to music director, that's not in a book.
No, not at all.
So there's a lot of things we learn by observing, by doing, by really just paying attention and stepping up to the responsibility. But so what was the most valuable thing you got out of going to Berklee?
For me, the most valuable thing I received from Berklee was my network of friends that I still have to this day,
right?
That are doing major things in the music industry. I have so many friends that literally last week, 4 of my friends from Berklee, we all played for new artists. Ayanna Lee, that's signed to Hit Pro Records. And literally, I'm there with L.A. Reid. And then I look over to my left and my right, I have my good friend, like from over 20 years, Andre Bowman, who is an amazing Grammy-nominated bassist, arranger, producer, and he works with Lady Gaga. He's playing bass with me. Then to my right, I have Lynette Williams, who plays with Childish Gambino. Like, I've known her for over 20 years. And then I'm a good friend of Theron Nephew Fingster. That's a Grammy-nominated winning hit maker machine that's playing keyboards with me. And like all of these wonderful people that I know, Neil Jacobson, Lettuce, the band Lettuce, like all those are my guys. Johnny Natural Nahara, he works with, he used to work with Usher, and everybody. It's like all my homies. These are like my good friends that we all were in the dorms at Berklee, in the cafeteria, walking around, hanging out at the 150 building, right, doing jam sessions over at the Commonwealth building. So I think for me, the biggest thing that I've learned, and the biggest thing that money can't buy, is a network of great friends, of lifelong friends that you'll have and the network you can build way beyond the school. That's, for me, that's what you pay for.
Something. It's taking me back to my very first day at school in some orientation class or something. But the teacher said, "Everybody, take a moment and look to your left and look to your right. Most of you are not going to make it through this program. Those of you who do, these are going to be your ride or die tribe for life. These are going to be your peers. These are going to be the people that you hire and that are going to be hiring you, and that the success, a lot of you are going to become very successful.
Yep.
So look around and pay attention."
Yeah.
And I did as well. And it's so true. And I've seen that from every generation of groups of people who graduate from the school that, still we've done so many things together, TV shows and tours and records, and, and then it becomes inclusive with the next generation as well.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. What do you think didn't prepare you, for everything that you've done?
I think Berklee didn't really prepare me for the business of music. They taught me, they kind of skimmed over it. Like, what's your major? Or you want to do MP&E? Okay, we're going to teach you a little bit about this. Make sure you know just the basic surface level things. If you don't go into music business, then of course you don't get really involved in that.
Right.
But and I'm not even knocking Berklee on that. Berklee taught me a lot of stuff that I didn't know. But I think the actual music business, no one could ever prepare you for it. Just all the things you got to deal with. So as much as they tried in their nice, friendly way to say, hey, this is publishing.
Right.
And no one prepares you for when you got to fight for publishing.
Right.
You're like, what? What do you mean? I wrote all of this. Why am I only getting 2%? It's
right.
like the book says.
Right.
Right. So I would say a lot of real world practice is what you don't receive, but you do get the knowledge of how it's supposed to be.
Right.
But that's life. You have to go through life and live these things out and use them in real world practice to really know, like, oh, okay, this is what it is. This is how it's used, and all of that knowledge, comes into play.
Now, even with the skill set that we have both grown and learned along the way and continue to learn about handling our business, do you find that you do better off when you have your lawyer or manager represent you in a conversation about getting your more than 2% of your publishing, or fighting for, the per diem to be the right per diem, or whatever it might be?
Well, I would say that about 80% of the time I have discussions beforehand.
Yeah.
And it also too depends on the relationship.
Sure.
Depends on the client, the relationship. Sometimes you bend, based on...
And the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. You bend for the opportunity, because this opportunity, if you give a little bit here, you gain a lot here.
Right.
So it's the strategy of that. You definitely don't want to ever be taken advantage of. You always want to feel like what you've done and what you've offered is respected.
Right.
And that needs to be reflected on whatever it is that we're doing, whether that's writing splits, whether that's production fees, all of those things. But kind of it varies at project to project, artist to artist, situation to situation. But I will say I've had some conversations and some situations where, you don't want to mess up your relationship with the artist, so you let those people who get paid to represent you on the black and whites to do their thing and to work it all out. So you walk in the gig like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
Everything's cool, and you let those people fight in the background.
That's right. That's a good part of being a wise part of being a good businessman.
Yeah.
Or woman. Absolutely.
You never want to mess up the relationship. You let the people that we pay to you let them fight.
Right. and also still be open-hearted and open-minded about things, even if it doesn't completely fit what you're asking for, to look that if it opens a door for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I would imagine for you, I know it has been for me, certainly looking at your credits, you have had a lot of doors open that were probably open because something else led to that first.
Exactly.
You were invited in through a side door to be a great drummer, and then there was an opportunity to co-write.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Or go, I can write you a string arrangement.
Right. Yeah. Just being, like I said, just being prepared when somebody called my number. Hey, put me in, coach. I got it. I can do it. I can hit the game-winning 3. I got you. So yeah, it just always being flexible and bending but not breaking. That's the best way to say it. It's okay to bend sometime, but don't break, because then you'll be taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm. So here's a pivotal part of your life. After you graduated from Berklee, you're getting ready to launch your career. Your next step was you moved to New York and you took a job at Bad Boy Records as an audio engineer, which is part of what you were trained to do in school with engineering and production. But you kind of quickly found out that really wasn't where your heart was, or that didn't feel like the path that you wanted to be going down. Yeah. And especially at one point you were living in Boston and driving, was it 2 hours each way, or?
Oh no, I wish.
No, 4 hours. I'm sorry.
4 hours
right. It's been a long time since I've done that drive. Right. But you did that for 2 years, back and forth. just playing at a church, for a church gig. So, so you're not afraid to put the work in. But then you got the call. You got the call that changed your life. One of many, but the one I'm talking about is Black Eyed Peas.
Yep.
So, how was that moment for you?
Well, yeah, just to put all of that in perspective, and the spiritual aspect of it all, it was the conversation I had with God, literally. So, like you said, I used to drive back and forth. So after I graduated from Berklee, I moved to New York to work with Richard Youngblood Frierson. He was one of the youngest hitmen of Puffy's hitmen back in the day. Mm-hmm. So he had came to Berklee, did a clinic. And that's how we first met. So he did a Berklee clinic. He spoke to the Black Student Union. And he said, hey, does anybody have music they want to play? So I pull out my CD jewel case, you know what I'm saying? Pre-streaming and all the other Spotify pages. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll I'm gonna play some music. So I played some of my music, pulled out my gold CD, because I put all my good music on the gold CD. Mm-hmm. Put that in. Oh, he loved it.
So you already had swagger back then. That's what you're saying.
Hey, you got to have confidence, because if you ain't got confidence in you, who will? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, take a shot. You never know what'll happen. So I did that. We kept in contact. So while I was in school, he used to send for me to come maybe like one or every other weekend to come to New York, come kind of engineer for him, kind of like an intern, so to say. And I work on beats and stuff like that. So fast forward, I graduate. So he's like, hey, man, why don't you come move to New York and work with me? So I ended up moving to New York. But at the same time, I had a cover band in Boston named Felix Brown. Mm-hmm. So during this whole time I was in college, like Felix Brown was one of the best cover bands. We would play all over New England. Crazy. So what I would do was, after I graduated, I moved to New York, lived in Brooklyn, still played for a church and a band in Boston. So a lot of my income was still there. Mm-hmm. So on Wednesday night, I would drive to Boston to play for church, 7 p.m. service for 1 hour, then drive all the way back to Brooklyn to go home, right? And then maybe the band I played for had gigs on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Mm-hmm. So I would drive back to New England area. So say, for instance, on Friday, we have a gig in Rhode Island.
Right, or Connecticut. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, then Connecticut on Saturday,
that's right. Mm-hmm.
Wherever I am on Saturday, come Sunday morning, I have to drive back to Boston to play for church for 11 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. So we could be in Vermont, Stowe, Vermont. We played Mount Stowe all the time, ski gigs. All right, guys, it's Sunday morning. I got to drive back to Boston, right? So I drive back to Boston, play for church, 11 o'clock to like 1, 2 o'clock, then drive all the way back home to Brooklyn. So that would be a weekend for me of doing all that traveling and driving and really just showing commitment to my responsibilities, which were my band, Brown, and my responsibility for the church that I played for, because I was the organist. So fast forward, after a certain time, the pastor didn't want me traveling so much. He wanted me to live in Boston full time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what's the issue? I'm still here.
Right. I'm still showing up. Right.
So that really, as I would say to my wife, church hurt. That was church hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I've been very faithful to this church. I've done some very revolutionary things for that church musically that they had never done before. So I felt like this was kind of a slap in the face, So literally I get fired because I don't want to move back to Boston to play for church. So now I fast forward to the conversation I had with God to make all of this make sense. So I was like, listen, God, in my Chicago South Side voice, real ghetto and gangster. Like, listen, I've done all of this driving for you and your ministry and your church. Now I've shown myself faithful to you. Now you have to show yourself faithful to me. That was my prayer. And it wasn't even a prayer. It was like, I'm talking to you right now. That's what I said. Because that really hurt, all those years I played for the church, to be able to sacrifice my literal health to make sure that the ministry operated properly. To have that happen really hurt me. So I'm just like, hey, like, you wouldn't bring me this far to just like leave me and just be like, okay, we're done with that. So I was like, listen, I've shown myself faithful. You show yourself faithful to me. So a little time passed. A good friend of mine from Berklee told me about a gig in New York, and it was the musical director of the Black Eyed Peas, but it was for another group called Star 69. He was like, hey man, my name is Prince Board. Love that brother to death. Hey man, I got a group, Star 69. We're doing BB Kings. Can you play drums for us? It was on a Sunday. So it was like a Sunday after church. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can do that because I got to drive back to New York anyway. So we ended up doing a gig. We hit it off. Everything was smooth. And from that point, me and Prince kept in contact. So maybe shortly after that, he said, hey, the drummer and the bassist for the Black Eyed Peas, the original drummer and bassist, quit. Would you be interested in playing drums? We got a tour for the summer, and we need a drummer. I'm like still doing the cover band thing. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll do it. 3 months. Because I was like, this year I'm going on a cruise because I've been working hard. I'm going to go on a vacation. So this is like, now I can't go on my cruise, right? So I'm like, okay, it's for the summer. Don't worry about it. I can do it. I'll do it.
You just man up and just do it.
Yeah, just do it. It's 3 months. What a big deal. Then you go back home. Literally 3 months turned to about 18 years. Numerous songs written, 2 Grammy wins, and worked with just about everybody under the sun. As you can see, this lady right here, that's Mary J. Blige and Ritmo as of recent, and just all the songs and all the things I've had a chance to do with Will.i.am and the Black Eyed Peas, and it just expanded my career exponentially.
Right.
And that was God holding up his end of the deal because I held up my end of the deal.
Right.
And that's why I say the 3 Ps, because I could have easily tapped out on any of those situations that was presented to me, just based on, or if I would have based it on what I want at the time instead of just staying the course. So I don't just talk the talk, I've actually lived some of this stuff.
Right. You walk the walk and you live it. You practice it.
That literally changed my life, man. Being in the Black Eyed Peas and just taking a chance on myself and doing 3 months that led to the life as I know it today.
Even meeting your wife, that was from being out on the road. Yep. So, well done, brother.
Well, thank you. I'm sure she would say that too.
Absolutely. So let's, Lisa, I'm going to indulge myself here before we start bringing in questions from the audience and from you. We're talking about songwriting. I want to talk about the stories behind the songs that you've written and produced, and just a few of them. So it's kind of a speed dating little thing. It's just kind of how it happened, what the intention was. Were you just in the room? Were you asked? How did these things come about, and what was the experience like? We won't even have time to go through all of them, but for example, About You with Mary J. Blige, Will.i.am, and Nina Simone.
Yep.
Man, it's a powerful piece of music. Everybody go listen to it.
Yeah, it's a great song. Love that song.
Yeah, I do too.
I have a fun fact about that song.
Okay.
So I forget what year we did this song, but we were in LA. We were at the record plant recording the song. And this was the time where Black Eyed Peas and Will.i.am was big and everybody was hot and like hotcakes. Everything they did was on fire.
Right.
So we're in the studio working, and that original music was originally for Kanye, because Kanye was in the back room working on his album that had Gold Digger at the time. So this is like maybe like Kanye's third album or so. So Kanye passed on the beat. So that beat ended up being for Mary J. Blige. And then, it's another fun fact with that song as well. The guitar was a cut in a sample of Could You Be Loved, the guitar that starts off the beginning of the song.
Right.
Will chopped it all up and made it amazing. And, Mary loved the beat. And then, soon after that, she came in and cut her vocals, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you.
I'm going to ask you a sensitive question, and it's sensitive because it's a sensitive topic. It seems from listening to your songs that you're comfortable occasionally using the N-word in your lyric writing, and it works obviously for the songs. Since this is such a loaded word and can be controversial and polarizing, can you share your perspective about that? Yes, why and how and when and.
Well, me not being a rapper, I can say from my perspective on the outside looking in, because, I necessarily don't write those lyrics like that. But I would say for a lot of rappers, it's for some of them, it's a space filler to be on the very elementary side of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's us talking to us, and what I mean, Black people talking to Black people, because when we say it to each other, we don't say it in that way. We say it as a term of endearment in some cases, or a term of acknowledgement, But some cases, when you put a ER on it, then that's a whole different connotation, whole different meaning. That it goes a whole nother stratosphere of stress and violence, I would say. But I would say most of the times, if you hear it in a rap song, and especially something that's popular, I would take it more so as if it's talking to person of that, like, hey, I know who you are, type of like, hey, we do that way. And I think that's it on the pop side of things, and in the more politically correct side of things. That's how you can view that coming from an African American talking about the use of that. Yeah.
Thank you for addressing that. Do you have anything to say about that? Or
yes. One of the questions that came up for me, at what point in your career, because one, thank you for explaining what being a member of a church, a musician in a church, a singer in a church, it really is a training ground for so many people. It is school. It is the Berklee that they could afford.
Right.
You know what I mean? Kind of hone in and learn deeper aspects of your skill and your trade and your craft later when you can afford to. And some people never even need to.
Yeah, exactly.
At what point in your career did you wake up one day and go, I've done it? Like, I've done it. And before that, what was your lowest point where you thought, I don't think I'm gonna get here?
Well, all right, to answer that, I don't think I ever had a low point to saying I would never get there.
I clapped for that, but okay.
I would say my lowest point would say, how do I maintain it? Right? Because once you get it, everybody expects these things to come out every time you touch a keyboard or a computer. And and some people that is true. Like Max Martin, man, as soon as he say something, it's, oh my God, 10 million albums sold, he's amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
But just to say, you can't compare your journey to other people's journey to keep yourself focused. So that's what I would say where I would feel my lowest. And I felt that because it was shortly after I got my first big publishing deal, after I had my first number ones with Meet Me Halfway, and Imma Be for the Black Eyed Peas. Like you say, when people make that amount of investment in you, they want that amount of return, you know? So then you have to, it's a lot of pressure, you know? And before you get that, it's like, oh, this is fun. You know, I love making music. And then it's like, yo, this is what we need. And then it turns into a job. You're like, whoa.
Right.
I thought I was supposed to just have fun. It's like, no, we gave you this. We need this. So that's when, for me personally, I started going through a lot of like, you know, some semi-depression. And I used to worry a lot, you know, in my younger me. You know, I used to worry a lot. You know, and to have all this success behind me, it was a lot of like not believing that I did this. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I did this, but did I really do it? And then I started to doubt myself. And then that's
you talk about imposter syndrome?
Yeah, kind of, because you know you're in the room, you're making. It's almost like you not being confident enough or accepting your contribution to the song because it wasn't the whole contribution. So you're like, did my, you know, this is me talking to myself though. Did my 5% matter?
Right.
Or did my chords matter because I wrote the chords, but I didn't write the lyrics? Right. You know what I'm saying? Can I write the lyrics if I had to? And it was just like all of these things I started to question myself, and they start to eat at me on the inside. That made me kind of recluse from wanting to even write and produce. But meanwhile, this is the height of my career. Like everything is great. You just got to pay a lot of money. You're doing all this stuff. You got number one records. But like I said, behind the scenes within myself, that's the battle I had to deal with because I had never had that much pressure to be successful on me before, right? So it took me a while to kind of understand that and really be comfortable with myself and just know, and like I told you, just knowing who I am and just, okay, turn it down a little bit, know who you are, know what talents that you have, and be okay with that, you know? And that's what led me to be this calm, cool guy that I am today. Super chill.
Super chill. And because you look, you have 2 kids, a wife, a lot of miles under your tires,
yes,
and a lot of drum skins under your sticks, and it's you know, you're in a place where you have some wisdom, you have life experience that informs your perspective.
Yeah, and I just want to say this too, is that that's what's not really talked about a lot. People only see the glitz, the glamour.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, they see all the success of the hard work, but it's a lot of mental health issues in that too. You know, yes, you hear a couple stories that bubble out, you know, about harassment and different things like that. But it's even harder, especially coming from a musician's perspective, being, you know, you got a little bit of that from Standing in the Shadows of Motown. All those musicians wrote all of those songs and didn't get no credit, no nothing, no dying broke. It's like that's mental, like, you know, trauma. That is trauma, literally. And like I said, you know, I went through a lot of my mental trauma at the highest point of my life and my career, and the most successful part where you think like, oh my God, he's on top of the world. He should be happy. And it's so much pressure. But a kid from the South Side of Chicago, I never faced any of that pressure. You know, living in the South Side, especially when I grew up, it wasn't as bad as it is now. So just the pressures of that time growing up didn't compare to the pressures of the music industry. Like
absolutely. Yeah.
Being late 20s, multi-millionaire, trying to organize and have people listen to you, try to, you know, like you said, having your lawyers, your accountants, and all these people have your best interests, and me having to watch those things. Nobody taught me this stuff.
Right.
So it's a lot of that. And then, newly married, trying to be a husband. And then you have all of these women that, oh my God, you're amazing. I'm like, okay, no. No, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. And thank God I survived it to come out on top of that. But like I said, these are the things that aren't really talked about, but I feel needs to have more conversations of how musicians and people of this caliber have dealt with the mental anguish that we've had to go through.
The mental health aspect of it, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a lot like athletes to get to that elite level.
Yeah.
Where do they, and I had a friend years ago who did this for a university. She was like I used to joke that I wanted to be life coach to athletes.
Mm-hmm.
College athletes going into the pros so that they would have somebody to have these kinds of conversations with. So Keith, did you have any mentors? Were there people that kind of guided you? Or did you kind of have to figure this out on your own as you were going along? Or a combination of both?
I would say I didn't necessarily have a mentor, but I will say this. I had a lot of people in my corner.
Good.
Right? So especially my family. My family, my mom, God bless her soul, passed away. I learned a lot from her. My sisters and brothers, they always supported me, right? And my sister that's closer to me, her name is Angie. She's like my surrogate mother, and she always been super vigilant of me, very protective. Mm-hmm. She'd see things that's happening around me that I didn't see, and she's always kind of been my protector. And I think that helped. Oh, and of course my church family. Man, they really, really helped me too. Just in, financial, they literally helped me go to college. Like they would hold services to raise money for me to go back with
get you another semester.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh man, let's have a service. They had a service for me, and I'll take like $700. That'll be like my food for the year. They stuff, and they'll send me care packages and one lady from the congregation literally co-signed for me to go to college. So it was that kind of community thing that really helped me.
And also, I want to ask you, because I know you lost both your mom and your dad, but you also had success earlier in your career, major success. So one beautiful thing is they got to experience that with you. They got to see that, some of it. That it was starting to happen.
My mother never saw it.
She did not. Okay.
My mother or my father, they never seen me play on any big stage other than church.
Okay. Yeah.
And right as I honestly think that was the thing that kind of broke the barrier down for me to be able to succeed, was her sacrifice of her passing away.
Right.
Because then for me, it made me focus. Because I was doing a whole bunch of stupid stuff, like with this girl and trying to be a dad and raising somebody else's kid. And it was like a lot of stuff that was going on mentally for me. And when my mom passed away, it just really put a lot of things in perspective and focus for me. And then I shedded a lot of dead weight. And then as soon as that happened, that's when that call came in from the...
you made the space.
Yeah. So I think, she's like my guardian angel. After I said that, like, hey, God, you got to do something here, she kind of went up there and co-signed for me. So I appreciate my mama for that.
It's beautifully said.
You had somebody on the inside.
Oh yeah. She gave me a little boost. She got me to the front of the line.
That's right.
Take care of him real fast.
That's all right, because you didn't waste the opportunity.
No way. I couldn't, man. Too many people invested in my future. So I could, and they still do. So I can't not, be successful because of what they've done for me. And also, please go to my socials, Instagram, Keith Harris Experience. Keith Harris Experience, everything. So you can find me.
Everything is Keith Harris Experience.
Exactly.
Everything.
That's right.
Twitter, latest project.
Facebook, Instagram.
Spotify. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. And by the way, this is my weekly pitch to make sure that you all of our listeners, that you understand the importance of subscribing to Keith Harris Experience Spotify page, to Terry Wollman Spotify page, and to any musical artist that you enjoy. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it helps. Yeah, it's free. You don't get spammed, and it helps continue. It helps continue live music because it's a new world. People don't buy music anymore; they stream it, but it still costs money to make it. And we don't want to lower our standards. So it's such a beautiful, easy way to show your support to any and every artist that you enjoy, and do it today. Yeah. So before I get to closing questions, Keith Harris Experience, badass group and project. Done some really cool collaborations.
Yes.
And so tell everybody about what that's about.
Well, the Keith Harris Experience was my very first project as me as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of took the culmination of all the things I kind of grew up with around Chicago, house music, of course. Chicago footwork is a type of dance there. And then everything that I love and produce, pop music, R&B, hip hop. Put all of that into a nice little jambalaya of Keithness. And, we released it last year, 2020, actually, no, 2 years ago now, 2020. The Keith Harris Experience came out. So please feel free, do yourself a favor. If you need some workout music, I got you. If you need some chill music, I got you. Whatever you need, you got 8 songs that can fulfill your life's dreams. So make sure y'all support the Keith Harris Experience. And it's on Twitter, not on Twitter, Spotify, Apple Music, and all streaming platforms. You can definitely check it out. And there's videos out as well on YouTube.
It's fantastic music. And one of the things that Keith and I were talking about earlier off the air was the inclusion of your signature Fender Rhodes playing and approach and sound as a keyboard player, but also just your use. And that's not just your use, your embracing of acoustic instruments with loops and all the genres. Like you mix them up and integrate them so beautifully, because music is music, and you get that.
Yeah.
Not everybody does, but I love that when I'm listening to your music. There's one tune that's all slice and dice samples, and it's really cool, and then next thing I hear is an acoustic guitar.
Yep.
On another song, or live strings, or
exactly.
So bravo on that, because it's not only musically interesting, but you are doing God's work and in keeping music alive and melody alive.
Yeah.
And it's really important. But that circles back to what we were talking about earlier. You serving the song, serving the artist.
Yeah. And I had to serve myself as the artist, and
right. Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to, impart all the different things about music that I like and what I enjoy, and actually had a chance to do something that felt good to me and not was prescribed by an artist. Like, I'm the artist, right. So if this is what I want to hear, this is what's going to be on the song. Mm-hmm. So it's just nice having that freedom.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, just as an aside, you had an acting part in La La Land. You got a film credit in that. Yeah. Was that a fun experience for you?
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
It was great. Just being able to be on, set with John Legend, who we worked together before, and Damien. He's an awesome director, really cool dude, and just everybody else involved, the cast. It was nice to be kind of myself. I had to act and be myself, which was great. Yeah.
So you're the perfect guy for the part.
Yeah, you need somebody like me, I could do that.
They cast that pretty well.
You got to be ready.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant casting.
So if you guys haven't seen that, go back in the time machine, check out La La Land, and you can't miss my beautiful face.
That's right, playing the part of Cole.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's funny that John Legend's name was Keith, and when they were saying his name on set, I kept thinking they were calling me.
You kept spinning around.
Oh, that's not my name.
Right, now what did I do?
Cole.
Right. Or where am I supposed to be now?
Right.
I'm going to get to my closing questions right now, and then last words for you of anything else that you'd like to share. first of all, because this show is called Making It, what does making it mean to you, both personally and professionally?
I think making it is just being at ease. It's just being, I want to say, satisfied with being okay. You know?
You do.
It's so much going on in the world that you have to perceive, or they want you to perceive as success or making it. You know? I think people, if you just really, start to talk to yourself and be okay with yourself, and if you just want to be a baker, it's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Especially if you were in the music industry and now you want to make barbecue, it's okay. As long as you are satisfied and happy with your life and there's no stress, it is okay to be that. So I feel wherever it is or whatever your passion that you're trying to pursue, that's making it.
Well said. Can you share, Keith, 3 tips for success that have driven your career?
Well, y'all got 3 of them already.
Say it again.
Prayer, practice, and patience.
There it is. And if you need a 4th, persistence.
Yeah, persistence. And then I guess I have to go to another one. It's going to be a W. You got to work out. So you got to keep the COVID weight on you and stay healthy so you can live long enough to enjoy your success.
That's right.
You got to be healthy enough to enjoy your success. So,
I'm glad you said that because this show, we really, I believe, that it's so important to be spiritually and physically, mentally, emotionally healtty.
Yeah.
All of the things that we've been talking about. And you got to take care of the temple.
You gotta have that clarity in order to tap into your creativity. If you got all these internet connections and little things getting in there, you're messing up your signal. So yeah.
And because you were an athlete coming up when you were younger, and still, I mean, you still train and you work it's very physical, but the point is to do what we do at the level that we do it when we're music directing for TV shows, for tours, in the studio producing, and the long hours, and we literally have to train physically to be strong enough to handle that kind of extended focus and at that very high level. Yeah,
and that's a great way to say it, extended focus. Because sometimes my wife was like, "Why are you so tired? You were at the studio today, or you were at rehearsal."
Right.
I'm like, when you're doing critical thinking for a long period of time.
A lost art, by the way.
Yeah, it's
critical thinking.
Tiring. It's like you tired,
Right.
Like, don't ask me. A lot of times, whoever's married on you. Like, when I go home, I tell my wife, don't ask me no questions. I don't want to hear no questions. I hear questions all day.
Right.
I come home, don't ask me no questions. We could talk without you asking me a question. It'd be good. And she laughs at me. And she gets quiet. I'm like, don't you ask me no questions. Oh yeah. Well,
that's I could do this all day with you guys. My closing question to you before you get your last thoughts in. At this point of your life, with everything that you know to be true, what would you tell your younger self?
Oh man, I'll tell my younger self, man, just take your time, be patient. You are amazing. The world will know in due time, but just enjoy the ride. That's what a lot of people don't get a chance to do because they're so in the rat race, just trying to keep up and look at everybody else. But enjoy the ride, man. It's okay to stop, get off the ride, look around, smell the roses, then get back on it. It's about balance. So that's what I tell myself, enjoy the ride, enjoy all of the wonderful experiences, all the wonderful people that you'll meet on your journey to being successful. And don't take those things for granted because 10 years go by just like that. And when you look back, I'm like, man, I didn't do anything, or I didn't see anything, or I missed graduations. I didn't hang out with my family enough because I was so enthralled in trying to be successful, So yeah, enjoy the ride.
Great advice. Keith, since our show's completely unedited, is there anything else on your heart or your mind that you'd like to share with our audience and with Dr. Lisa and I?
Well, I will first want to thank you for having me. It's been a great opportunity just to speak and just share a little bit of my truth and my thoughts on things in my life. And I'm hoping that, the people that tuned in and the people that will see this eventually can get some nuggets of comfort to help deal with some issues that they may be going through. Like I said, nobody's perfect. I've been through a lot of things in my life, and luckily for me, I've just had a little dash of wisdom to avoid a lot of major catastrophes. So I just want to say, people just stay the course. I'm so happy that I've had a chance to, like I said, just share. And anytime you have me back, I'll definitely come back and talk to you some more.
It's an open invitation. I would love that. We should definitely circle back again and continue this conversation. Dr. Lisa, thank you for being in this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's so perfect, with your Chicago background and also you working in diversity training and mental health and all the work that you do, Lisa. Besides being an artist yourself, you're the perfect person to co-pilot.
This was wonderful. And he put it out there and it's recorded. He said he'll come back. So if we have to hunt him down to get him back, I'll go find him.
All right.
Don't you roll past my church trying to find me.
That's right.
I ain't there no more.
Honking the horn in the parking lot. No, this has been a joy. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you, Keith. Yeah, it's an absolute joy to finally meet you and to begin our friendship. Let's get in the studio and do some auto-tune background vocals together. And hit some things. Yeah, I'm totally down for that. I want to thank our virtual audience today. We see you. We literally see you here with us. So thank you for joining this conversation and for listening and waving and clapping and cheering us on. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And to our virtual audience out there, for everybody who's listening to the archive, we appreciate you as well. Thanks so much, everybody. We want you to stay safe and stay inspired. Keith, absolute joy. Take good care.
Thank you so much.
Everybody
Bye.
Stay safe. See y'all next week.
Tune in again next week for another great episode of Making It with Terry Wollman.